At this moment, international nameplate auto dealerships face some of the most critical issues in our industry's history.
Fortunately, we have a compelling message to convey and a way to deliver it with power and purpose.
If we all get on the same song sheet and really sing that same song and let everybody know what we do for the local communities, for state revenues, and for federal revenues, no one can stop us.
Actually making it happen, though, means all hands on deck.
The more dealers that we can unify together up on the hill have a greater message and more power that help protect our businesses.
And we have to drive the message about who we are, what we do, and what we mean to America.
Great, but who's doing the talking?
AIADA it's the dealers, right? We make up the organization.
That's right. AIADA is you.
I was never involved in politics. As I said, I just love cars. I wanted to be a car guy. AIADA gave me all the tools to be able to speak before Congress. They held my hand.
Well, thank you. Mr. Gates, you witness daily the joy and often the stress that accompanies purchasing a vehicle. What impact would auto tariffs have on your consumers?
Cars are very price sensitive. It's all about payment. If cars rose an average of $4,000 to $6,000, $4,000 adds $80 a month to a payment. Everybody that buys a car cares about the payment. So to me, I think it's devastating. I don't think that I can survive long term if this occurs.
Well, thank you. I'm in agreement with you guys, I'll tell you.
The message you drive about products, definitely heard.
There's also a message about people and another about possibilities.
We're nimble. We find the problem, we band the dealer groups together, we band our affinity partners, educate everyone in a quick period of time, and then make sure that we go deliver the message to the right people that need to hear our message.
You've got to talk about products.
Vehicles with international nameplates, many built in the United States, preferred by a majority of American consumers, and a vital ingredient of international trade, without stifling taxes and tariffs.
It's hard to justify the price of a car already. Anything that's passed on to the dealer would be passed on to the consumer.
You know, our job on the front lines is to make sure that they have the ability to give their consumers what they want.
You've got to talk about people.
Families who own our dealerships, employees who tie us to communities we serve, residents of those communities, and lawmakers who represent and work for all of us.
When you look at the size of international automobile dealers, we have 577,000 reasons we need to be in Washington. And we have a staff that goes on that hill that is as powerful as anybody has representing them. Any company or any other trade association, AIADA is the leader.
Members and dealers, their employees, even consumers have to get engaged because there's a lot of issues that are going to impact them moving forward, and you can't afford to sit on the sidelines.
You've got to talk about possibilities.
For jobs and economic growth, for transportation and innovation, for building a secure future, for paying it forward and giving it back.
I'm excited about what's going on in the industry right now. I mean, we're constantly looking at ways to improve the use of technology and allowing it to be easier for people to do business with us.
It's always been a unique business because this is one of the only organizations I know to where we change on the fly. A car dealer has to change on the spot, change their business model in order to be successful.
Dealers have been evolving for well over 100 years. They're going to evolve today, they're going to evolve tomorrow, they're going to evolve 10, 20, 30 years from now. So the future's bright for America's auto dealers.
You are AIADA.
Taking care of business.
Driving the message.
I am totally energized by the uncertainty in Washington, D.C., because I know we have the winning message. And I just need to get that winning message to the people on the other side. But once we can tell our story to the ones that don't understand it, I have no doubt that we will win them over.
Ensuring your future.
Congress people, staffers, lobbyists, everybody knew people from AIADA, and clearly they respected them. And they were asking for their opinions. It was very cool. I was so impressed and so proud to be a part of it.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage AIDA President Cody Lusk.
Thank you. Good afternoon and welcome to AIADA's 49th annual meeting and luncheon. I know you've got other things to do on a Sunday, and I appreciate you taking the time to be with us here today. You know, engaged and active dealers like you are the driving force behind AIADA. You're the reason we exist in Washington, D.C., fighting day in and day out to prevent damaging legislation and federal policies from undermining all that you have built and the consumers you serve. We've got a great program lined up today, but before we jump in, I want to take a moment and recognize some of our special guests. First, our friends and partners and hosts, once again, NADA. Thank you. I also want to thank AFIT PAC, and Fritz and Mary did a great job, and we've got Joe O'Brien coming in as chairman. We got an exciting couple of years, Joe, so thanks for taking that on. We appreciate it. I also want to thank Damon Lester and his leadership at NAMAD, who do a fantastic job. We appreciate it. And finally, our manufacturer friends and our member services affinity partners, thank you for all that you do for us. We appreciate everything. Thank you. You know, a year ago when we met in Las Vegas, pressure was ratcheting up on our industry thanks to growing protectionism and anti-trade policies. In the summer of 2018, all of the vehicles on your lots came under scrutiny as the Department of Commerce opened an investigation into whether imported vehicles and parts constituted a national security threat. Now, the outcome of that investigation could provide the president with the grounds to implement steep new tariffs of up to 25% on these imported vehicles and parts, which would drive up the cost of every single vehicle in the U.S. by almost $7,000. AIADA immediately swung into action last year. We submitted comments on behalf of dealers, testifying in front of the Department of Commerce, and as you just saw, Congress, on the dire impact new auto tariffs would have on our industry. Now, 2019 is certainly going to present its challenges, but fortunately, AIADA has your back. We, along with a powerful coalition of auto associations and manufacturers, stand ready to fight any new trade or tariff policy that would hurt your business. We're your first line of defense in Washington, and we'll continue to battle to preserve your livelihoods. Now, while we're on the subject of fighters, I know a lot of you in this room had your lives touched by a great man and a true fighter for our industry, former AIADA chairman Bob McCamey. Bob McCamey passed away earlier this month after a meaningful and truly adventurous life. As an association and an industry, we owe a great deal to him and his vision way back when of an active and unified dealer body. At this time, let's just observe a brief moment of silence in honor of Bob. Thank you. Now, moving into today's program, we have an exciting lineup planned, beginning with the look back at 2018 from Chairman Brad Strong of Utah. He's the guy with the big smile on his face about to get this over with. Now, Brad was the steady hand our association needed as dealers navigated aggressive and hostile trade issues in Washington. Let's watch the video to find out about Brad's year as chairman.
Now more than ever, the ongoing issues faced by AIADA make each annual chairperson part of a classic case study in continuity. Setting the stage for this year's transition was Brad Strong.
It's been a very busy and challenging year with all the talk of trade and taxes and tariffs. It's been a busy year.
Think about all the things that occurred. I mean, we have NAFTA 2.0, we have Section 232, we have the midterm elections. They couldn't have been a better guy for the time.
Brad stepped up and stayed strong, so no pun intended.
I call him Mr. Consistent. You know, he's through his manufacturers that he represents, he's also been through some tough times, but Brad doesn't sweat. Brad stays on point, Brad stays on message, just like AIADA.
In my experience, AIDA has been very effective in helping maintain the integrity of our industry, protecting our best interests up on the Hill in Washington, D.C. Every day. They're there every day.
You know, I can get a little fired up, a little excitable, the staff too, with sort of all that's happening in Washington. And Brad just kept us even keel. His personality, his leadership qualities, he's just so steady.
He's so knowledgeable. He's one of us. I mean, he truly is. He speaks from the heart. He is very engaged. He's so sincere. He's so motivated.
And he represents AIADA as good as anybody that I ever seen serve as a chairman, including myself.
AIDA has always been kind of on the leading edge of doing new things to stay current with what's happening in our industry.
With the millennials or the younger generation, we have to find a way for them to connect. And I think he found a way by doing a podcast.
They've set up a little studio in their office. They've invited manufacturers to come in, some of our partners to come in and share what's going on in their industry to help keep the dealers informed. It's been a very helpful tool and kind of cutting edge.
Brad Strong has done an incredible job for AIADA under unusual circumstances with all the things that are going on in Washington.
Our theme of driving the message is key for AIDA, constantly staying on the Hill, pushing the people that make those decisions to do what's right or in the best interest of our business.
I hopefully can just step into those shoes and keep running as Brad did.
And now, here to pass the baton, please welcome 2018 AIADA Chairman, Brad Strong.
Thank you, Cody, for that kind introduction. I took over as chairman in Las Vegas last year, right as the trade issues were heating up. New steel and aluminum tariffs were about to hit, and we were all staring down the barrel of threats to abandon key trade agreements that are foundational to this industry. I expected a bumpy journey in my year as chairman, but let me say, it's truly been the ride of my life. Last summer, the Department of Commerce opened a new investigation into whether imported vehicles and parts constituted a national security threat and warranted steep new tariffs. Like many of you, I was flabbergasted at the thought that the vehicles sitting on my lot possibly could be construed as a threat to national security. I worried about the impact that new tariffs of up to 25% would have on my ability to sell vehicles and keep my business and employees afloat. AIDA quickly swung into action. We submitted testimony to the Department of Congress on the disastrous impact new tariffs would have on dealers and consumers in cities and towns across the U.S. We took our message to Capitol Hill, and join forces with other associations and manufacturing partners to form a powerful coalition. I'd really like to say that at the start of 2019, we are out of the woods, but we are not. Our industry faces more scrutiny than ever before. We face uncertainty from new and renegotiated trade agreements like the USMCA. Likewise, the threat of new tariffs on our products is very real, and for many of us would mean the difference between building on the economic value we bring to our communities or shutting our doors altogether. As I prepare to hand the gavel to Howard Hakes, I know we are in great hands. But my parting message to you is this: AIADA needs you. This association is your first defense in Washington, but that's not enough. Your experience I'll tell a story of a vibrant American industry that I am proud to be a part of as a third-generation dealer. We need you to continue to get involved by hosting dealer visits and hitting the pavement on Capitol Hill during our upcoming fly-in this April. This past year has been a real honor for me. Though my time as chairman is coming to a close, I will still continue to be right beside you, fighting on behalf of this industry we all love so much. Thank you again for your time. Now please enjoy your lunch.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage AIDA Chairman Brad Strong.
As an organization, AIADA is truly fortunate to have the right man at the right time step up to lead us through 2019. Howard Hakes is a political junkie with a day job in the auto industry. He knows both worlds just like the back of his hand, and in these wild and crazy times, he's uniquely capable of seeing the big picture and understanding how we can work together to drive our message and build a brighter future. Let's learn more about our new chairman, Howard Hakes.
Driving the AIADA message in 2019. That's the task when we leave this luncheon, led by our new chairman, Howard Hakes.
Went to work for Hitchcock Automotive 28 years ago and have worked through all departments within the dealership and have ran 3 or 4 of our stores over the years before coming into the management company here as a vice president and then eventually president of the company.
He'll do a great job for us because he'll lead us politically in Washington in a year that's of a lot of uncertainty.
Which makes it kind of fun. I think trips to Washington, D.C. and going up on the Hill, battling an uncertain Congress is something that I have been built for my whole life.
He's very involved in politics. He's engaged with his members more than probably anybody in the industry that I know.
And his time on the board has given him the experience to know what it takes in Washington to be a chairman and represent us.
And I think our dealers are very lucky to have him as our leader this year.
This is the year to stay on the offensive with Howard leading the charge.
We're at a critical time right now that we need to make sure we have all 9,600 of us fighting the battle and fighting on the same team. And getting that message out to all dealers across the country is going to be one of my biggest responsibilities as chairman this year.
He's there to dust it up. You know, he's perfect for us right now because with all the change, he's the voice that most will hear. You know, and he's not afraid to say it.
He understands policy, he knows the people. Ask him about any race in the country and he'll know who's running and he knows what they stand for. It's really impressive.
Not just being a car dealer, but being someone who's very involved in politics from a local, state, and federal level. I think I can navigate myself through some issues that others might not be able to, just from my experience in politics over the last 20 years.
When he goes up on that hill or when he becomes chair, it's going to be a cakewalk for him, I believe.
Maybe after his time at AIADA, maybe he'll run for Congress in California. I'd move to California to vote for him.
My vision for AIADA would be sustainability. How we can do what we do today, but sustain it tomorrow. And we all think that's easy, but with the changing times that we're in, it's very difficult. And living just one day at a time and figuring out what we have to do tomorrow to just sustain this amazing group going into the future.
Continuing the continuity of leadership that's kept AIADA so powerfully effective over a historic half-century of automotive industry evolution, Chairman Howard Hakes.
Thank you, Brad, for that kind introduction. You know, Brad is a man with some amazing skills and knock-'em-dead work ethic. His work in Washington, D.C. this year was nothing short of phenomenal. He went in there and did a job that most of us couldn't have managed or wouldn't have wanted to. He navigated AIADA through the rocky pathways of 2018, and he never looked down. If there was a debate of any kind concerning the protection of our core goals or fighting against protectionism, Brad was there. We all owe him our gratitude. Please, another round of applause for our friend and advocate, Brad Strong. I am truly honored today to accept the AIADA Chairman's gavel. I grew up in Sunnyvale, about 40 miles south of San Francisco, so being here today is like coming home. And having grown up nearby here, I brought my own fan club. My family is here with us, Beth, our children, my mom and dad, a few of my brothers and sisters, and I even brought a couple friends from kindergarten that I grew up with. My work family is also here with us today. Thank you all for coming. I'd like to make special mention of my boss and mentor, Fritz Hitchcock. Last week, Fritz celebrated his 50th year in the retail car business. Fritz, thank you for all you've done for me and what you've done for our industry. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank our friends at NADA, NAMAD, and the APHID PAC that Cody mentioned earlier. And along with them, AIADA's extraordinary team of Infinity partners who offer our members incredible values on goods and services. There's an old saying that goes, if you want a friend in Washington, get a dog. That may be true, but AIADA has been fortunate to have many friends both in and outside the Capital Beltway. Their support have allowed us to make the most of our lean, agile structure. I'm so grateful to have them along on this ride and look forward to all we can achieve together in 2019. When Fritz first brought me into this business in 1991, I thought that two things were immediately clear. The car business is a people business, and I'm a people person. Over the years, I've been a general manager, vice president, and now president of Hitchcock Automotive. And at one point or another, I've sold just about every brand you can imagine. There's not a lot I haven't seen in this business, and most of it I've enjoyed immensely. I've always loved selling cars. I think I was born for it. Every morning I wake up and know that, there'll be a new adventure out there, a new challenge, a new customer to fit into their perfect car. Every morning, I know that we're in an industry that is always so exciting and rewarding, and it always will be. It's not blind optimism. I've learned it from long, hard experience. I've seen our industry go through ups and downs in my 30 years, and I've always seen how auto dealers always come out on top. No matter what, people will always need cars. We will always be there to meet those needs. International auto dealers and manufacturers have invested $82 billion in their operations this year, around, and operate 500 facilities across 37 states. But it seems that our lawmakers in D.C. have no clue that our dealerships employ 578,000 employees with a payroll in excess of $34 billion. We are doing this all because of global trade, not in spite of it. We need worldwide market access, and those markets need us. People like Cody are doing their best to make sure that our voices are heard in Washington. Brad called me a political junkie. I suppose I am. I've been involved in politics ever since Ronald Reagan was governor or in some sort of another of the state of California. I'm on the board of the California Republican Party and vice chairman of the Republican Party of Los Angeles County. The last one, we currently hold our meetings in the backseat of a Toyota Corolla. People just don't get involved, even when their involvement helps them. I never understood the fact that in any organization, 20% of the people do 80% of the work. Most people just sit back and take what comes their way. Like all of us, I work all day. Then in the evenings, I go to work that ministers to my community. My core value is to make a difference in my world. I counsel troubled drug and alcohol addicted adults 2 or 3 nights a week in Pasadena, and I've accepted an appointment from the president to serve on a Health and Human Services Drug and Alcohol Prevention Board. You men and women sitting here today are part of the 20% of the international nameplate dealers who care and who take action to do what needs to be done. You are the doers, the movers and shakers. Good for you. But we still need the 80% who sit on the sidelines. Today, protectionism is the biggest threat to us, and we need more people to stand up and do something about it, just as we did with the bat tax a few years ago. The first step of taking action and getting involved is making plans to join us April 9th and 10th in Washington, D.C. at our fly-in, so we can all meet directly with our various lawmakers and let them know exactly how much is at stake at this whole trade debate. It's your responsibility, the 20%, to get the slew of the 80% to attend and support our positions. We need to talk to them, cajole them, persuade them, but get them there. If we want our stores to survive, it's in the next crucial years, we all need to be involved. We need to speak out and let our collective and individual voices be heard. Let me be honest. We are in an uphill battle. The tariff wars have already begun, but we will prevail. We will persevere if we band together as one and fight for what is good for us and our country. And I've got to say, there's not a better group of people in the world I'd rather be marching into battle with than the dealers that are in this room. The men and women in this room, you are the generals, you are the captains, and you are the battalion leaders that will inspire our troops to be victorious. So let's go out there and see what we can accomplish together in 2019. Thank you, and I'll see you all in April.
You know, Bob, I think we've got the right guy leading this year. Thank you, Howard. AIADA's annual Lifetime Achievement Award was created because dealers like you are such an important part of the fabric of your communities. You provide untold support for your employees, communities, and our industry itself. to recognize an outstanding dealer who embodies the very best our industry has to offer. AIADA's board named our annual Lifetime Achievement Award after legendary St. Louis dealer Dave Mungenast. This year's recipient of the Mungenast Award is an exceptional dealer. Let's roll the video and take a look.
Every year, we American International Auto Dealers recognize the lifetime achievements of somebody who epitomizes the qualities of our late and legendary leader, David F. Mungenast Sr.
This year, it's another AIADA legend, Dave Conant.
I've known Dave for over 25 years, and you can't find anybody that more embodies what Dave Mungenast, meant for this industry.
When I knew I wanted to get in the business, I said, you know what? These are two guys that one day I'd like to emulate. And Dave Conant is one of those, as was Dave Mungenast. And so when I think of who should be winning this award, Dave Conant was a perfect thought in my mind.
Dave put his arm around me my first AIADA meeting and said, hey kid, you're gonna be okay here, just follow me, and if you got any questions, ask me.
That first dinner we went to, Dave made a point to pull me aside and spent, I'd say, about an hour just talking to me.
And as we talked, I thought, well, he's so nice, he's so kind, he's so humble.
We talk more about family than we do about the car business, and I think that's what separates him from a lot of people. He's found that balance.
He's just a great guy. We've served on the board together for a few years, got to know him very well, and I think it's a well-deserved award for Dave. I'm happy for him.
I know a lot of his managers that work for him, and hearing people talk about their boss the way that they talk about Dave Conant, you just know what a quality individual he is.
He can hire the finest people in his hometown because of his relationship with the community and what he's done to charities and all the things that are necessary. We all do some of it, but Dave goes outside the box.
That's just the type of person he is, and that's what the Mungenast Award is all about.
He's a wonderful man, and I couldn't be prouder as a friend of anyone getting this award, any more deserving than Dave Conant.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Conant.
Congratulations, Dave. Very well. Very, very Dave, you're loved, Dave. You're very well deserving, and we did have another special message from somebody who actually nominated you for this award. You might recognize this voice.
Dave, I can't thank you enough for being there for our association and for all the thoughtful input you gave all these years. Dave Mungenast was the model, and that's why his name is on this award. And Dave Conant definitely reflects those qualities. He's an innovator. In other words, he is open to change, and he wants to stay current, and he's done that in his business. I think he's done that for AIADA as well. Great choice.
Thank you. Well, that's my buddy Tim Smith, and he's a great guy to use as an example. A lot of service to the industry. I'm extremely grateful to be standing before you today to accept this award, named in honor of my good friend and personal hero, Dave Mungenast. I'm also grateful as I think of people who have supported me over the years and helped me get to this point, like my dad, who instilled in me all the knowledge necessary to run a successful auto dealership, and who also taught me that a good work ethic and a kind heart can actually take you places. I'm grateful to my wife and 4 children who have stood by me, loved me, and supported me in spite of all of the moments in their lives that I've missed because I was at work. There were a lot of school functions and sporting events that I should have been at that I didn't make while building the business, and yet they've stood by me. I'm grateful to my executive team, all of who are here. Some of the retired folks even showed up, which is kind of you. And of all of our employees at all levels who have understood the importance to our success of not only serving our customers, but serving each other. And of course, I'm grateful for the many lasting friendships that I've enjoyed over the years and for the support that I've received from our factory partners, particularly Honda and Toyota going back all the way to the 1970s. When I learned that I was to be recognized for this award, I had a moment of reflection, thinking about some of the things that have created the success that we've enjoyed as a retail auto group. But I also had a lighthearted moment, a memory of a time 20 plus years ago when I took my 3 very young daughters for their first spin in my brand new Porsche convertible. As we drove down Pacific Coast Highway, wind blowing in our hair, and I had a little at the time, I remember one of my daughters in this squeaky little voice from the seat behind me shouting out, "This is the life!" And I remember thinking at the time, my gosh, this is the life. How does it get any better? But the truth is, it's continued to get better all 20 years since then. When I think about what's made this success possible, I think of all the sales records that we've broken over the years, the factory recognitions that we've won for excellent customer service. I think of the teams of employees in our stores, all long tenured and highly dedicated. But all of these things are the symptoms or signs of success. They're not the reasons for success. I'd like to explain this. Dave Mungenast's commitment to his family, his community, his people, and our industry was a great inspiration to me through my career. And I'm hoping that I might pass forward some of that inspiration today. Dave and Barb Mungenast set an example that Cassie and I have tried to live up to by dedicating part of their annual profits to their family charitable foundation. Through this effort, they are able to give thanks and to give back to their community for people in need, which I think in turn created a sense of shared purpose around common values for themselves and their employees. Cassie and I have done the same thing with our group. We've donated part of our profits to our family foundation, which has supported community education and other causes near to our hearts. But we've also established employee charity boards in each of our dealerships, and we've invited our employees to donate from their paychecks each pay cycle so that they may also be part of this giving back. I'm pleased to say that this has gone on since 1998, and our people have supported health and wellness, women's causes, education, homeless and hunger relief, and more. And I'm very pleased to say that even today, after all these years, 98% of our 1,400 employees contribute to this program voluntarily every single paycheck. Taking care of others not only feels good to our people, it gives them a unique purpose each day to come to work. Yes, as I said, we've enjoyed breaking sales records. We enjoy breaking our own previous performance boundaries. And of course, we'll take any awards that we can earn from our factory partners, our customers, our vendors, and so on. All these things are meaningful and they spur us on toward our goals. But knowing that we're all pulling as a team each and every day to create resources that can better the lives of people in our community is, I'm certain, the single most important reason for our success. This is the thing that has given our group a strong and consistent identity as a team. As evidence for this, every time we've done an emergency call for donations, such as for the hurricane in Houston or the tsunami in Asia, I've received calls and letters and emails and texts from employees telling me how good it feels to be able to help other people. And they've reminded me that this giving and being part of this team of people who all understands this value is the reason that they so enjoy being part of our organization. A great source of pride for me, as you can imagine. There are so many stereotypes about car dealers out there, most of them not too generous, and we're all aware of them. But the stereotype that sadly doesn't seem to be front of mind for most people is the stereotype of auto dealer as pillar of their community, the person giving the most, the people with the kind hearts. Having spent my entire life and career in this industry, I know that this stereotype is the one that really prevails in our industry. This room is full of people who have great concern for others and whose business success plays an important and vital role in the goodness of their community. I'm super proud to be part of this industry. I'm thankful to have had the opportunity to support my community through our success, and I'm very honored to receive the David F. Mungenast Award. As my daughter said all those years ago, this is the life. This is the life. Thank you very, very much.
Carry this.
Thank you, Dave. Let's have another round of applause for a truly remarkable man. Hey, before I introduce our speaker, if you haven't already, download the AIADA app on your phones for all the updates and alerts that come out all year long. The information is on the back of your ticket of how to do it, and if you have any trouble, grab one of the members of the AIADA staff to help you out. Working with Toyota, as it continually strives to improve and revolutionize its customer experience, has been one of the true highlights of my career. Their rejection of the status quo and embracing innovation is a big reason why Toyota enjoys the reputation it has today. Bob Carter, Executive Vice President of Sales for Toyota Motor North America, is a great example of that mindset. In his role, Carter is responsible for sales, marketing, distribution, customer service for the entire Toyota and Lexus brands in North America. In other words, Bob knows this industry inside and out. Let's give him a warm welcome and hear what he has to say.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And Howard, thank you very much. You're the right man for the job. Both you and Fritz have done a great job for AIADA and for Toyota in particular in Southern California. We appreciate the partnership. And I also want to call out and thank Cody Lusk. Cody, thank you for the invitation this year. You know, in today's current political environment, I'm sure that you have times like I do. It's very easy to get frustrated. There's some mornings that I feel like heading up to a fishing cabin in the mountains, never picking up a newspaper again. But the truth of the matter is, and we saw it the last couple of weeks, if we ran our businesses the way our elected officials are currently running our government, we wouldn't be around very long, and neither would all the jobs that we produce. But as a corporation that I represent that sells 2.8 million units in North America and provides 137,000 jobs, I passionately believe, I'm passionate, that Toyota Motor North America must be neutral when it comes to politics. While we may all have different points of view, and each one of us, dealers and manufacturers must unite on policy. Because our threats of the future are policy, not politics. More on that in a moment, but before I'm going forward, I'd like to play it safe for a bit and recognize Dave Conant and echo everybody's comments about Dave. Dave, you've been a cornerstone of the Southern California market for many years, an activist on key issues for this industry. It's a pleasure to know you. It's a pleasure to be your partner. Great job. I don't know if I ever told Dave this, but back in the early 80s, my third job with this company was a district parts manager, and my first district was Wisconsin. So one of the very first dealer calls I made, and great memories, was calling on your father and selling him a few parts. So for those of you who know me, my approach to these kind of discussions But if you don't know me, I'll tell you up front, you're not going to have to worry about my opinion of what's going on before you leave today. So today I'm going to give you my thoughts. And as always, I want to start off with some good news. It's really been a great January for Toyota. We just unveiled the new Supra in Detroit. The reaction to the vehicle actually blew me away. We expected, after a Supra coming back after 2 decades, I knew there's a lot of people waiting for this car. But it was really unbelievable, the reaction that we got in Detroit. And then I had the opportunity to go straight to Scottsdale and auction off the first Supra, which was the first Supra to be built anywhere in the world in 2 decades. And I'm proud to say we raised $2.1 million for 2 great charities. So that was a great way for me to start off 2019. But to recap, give me a few moments. I'd like to brag for a moment about our 1,500 dealer partners. Toyota rounded out 2018 with our dealer partners selling 2.4 million units in the US, and as I mentioned earlier, 2.8 million in North America. And that's really a true reflection to how fortunate we are to have a great group of dealer partners. Toyota, once again, was the #1 retail selling brand for the 7th year in a row. We're proud of that. And as expected, light trucks and luxury SUVs stole the spotlights last year. Overall, Toyota light trucks were up 8% as the market went to SUVs. Our Lexus SUVs were up 2%. The RAV4 just was amazing, up over almost 9% with over 425,000 units sold. And for the 2nd year, we're proud that the RAV4 was the best-selling SUV in the market. The reason I say these things is because none of this would be possible without many of you in the room. And we're really excited about going into 19 because we got a lot new product coming. The new RAV we just shipped before Christmas is starting to exceed our expectations. And we think that it's on track to outpace the old RAV that we just built out. And then on the luxury side, the Lexus RX at 111,000 sales was again the #1 selling luxury car. And for passenger cars, I'm really proud that Camry was again #1 for 17 years in a row. Our Lexus division had another great year. Lexus was the best, Lexus LS had the best year we had in 5 years. And we have the same expectations for an all-new Corolla that we're launching this spring. I think many of you know the Corolla is the world's most popular car, and we believe that the 2020 model will be no different. So why am I telling you this? One, I'd like to sell you a car. But the reason I went through that is that we are different than the other manufacturers. We are confident that passenger cars will remain a very important part of this industry. Now, I'm not up here denying that the consumer preference has shifted dramatically away from sedans to light trucks and SUVs. But think of it this way. In 2018, there was 5.3 million sedans sold in the US. 5.3 million sedans. Worldwide, there's only a handful of markets out there that sell 5.3 million units with all the vehicles, all retail, all fleet, cars, trucks, everything in their portfolio. 5.3 million units, in our view, is simply too important and too large to ignore. So like other OEMs that are out there making their announcements, we have no desire nor no intention to back out of what we think is a very lucrative sedan market in the US. And besides that, I'm okay with 100% market share of 5.3 million sales. So enough with 2018. We saw a SAAR for the above 17 million for the 4th years in a row. The numbers don't lie. The auto business right now is very, very good. And although we see the industry taking a very moderate dip next year to slightly below the 17 million market to 18 or 16.8, we're confident that this industry remains stable and healthy. Now, we have